All right, so today we're diving into Greg Doucette's anabolic cookbook.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, and we're going to help you figure out like how to make some seriously delicious high protein meals that'll actually help you hit your fitness goals.
Yeah.
And the coolest part is that this cookbook has like a crazy variety of recipes, like
Yeah.
French toast protein ice cream.
I saw that.
Yeah, you name it. Like it's all about building muscle while like enjoying what you eat, you know?
Yeah, and that's really what's fascinating here is that anabolic, like you said, doesn't have to mean boring or restrictive.
Yeah.
Like Doucette's whole approach really emphasizes this balance between building muscle and enjoying what you eat.
So you're saying it's not just like chicken and broccoli 24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me more about this Coach Greg character. He
Yeah.
seems pretty larger than life from what I've seen.
He really is. I mean, the cookbook intro is just classic Doucette, right?
Yeah.
Like powerlifting champion, IFBB pro.
I saw that.
Oh, and he's a self-proclaimed French toast connoisseur.
Yeah.
For those who aren't familiar with the bodybuilding world, IFBB pro means that he's competed at the highest levels of the sport.
Right.
But it's not just titles.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the credentials too.
Yeah, I did notice he has degrees in kinesiology, started bodybuilding young, tons of coaching experience.
Yep.
But he also throws around phrases like bullshit-free advice
Yeah.
and achieving real results. That's pretty bold, right?
It is. But that's part of his charm, I think.
Yeah.
He kind of injects this humor into all of his advice.
Right.
Like he even says, trust me, I'm always right 99.6% of the time.
Oh, wow.
So it just makes him really relatable. You know, like someone you'd want to grab a protein shake with.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm starting to get the picture of this whole like anabolic approach. It's all about building muscle.
Right.
But does that automatically mean like strict diets and endless calorie counting?
Right.
Because that just sounds exhausting.
Yeah, and that's where I think Doucette might surprise you. Because he actually encourages a more flexible approach.
Oh, really?
He talks about focusing on like total calories
Okay.
rather than getting bogged down in like counting every single macro.
So there's room to breathe
Yeah.
in this whole like blueprint for building positive eating habits thing.
Exactly.
That's a relief.
Absolutely. And he even says, you know, there are no rules in this kitchen.
Huh? I love that.
He wants you to adapt recipes based on your taste,
Okay.
your dietary needs,
Mm-hmm.
and what you actually have on hand.
That's awesome. I love this emphasis on flexibility.
Yeah.
It suggests that like anabolic isn't just about rigid rules,
Yeah.
but finding what works for you.
Exactly.
But wouldn't that require like
Oh, that's a good point.
a good amount of knowledge about nutrition to make those like smart choices?
That's a great point, and I think it does highlight the potential challenge of this approach.
Mm-hmm.
While it can be empowering for people who are tired of restrictive diets,
Yeah.
it also puts the onus on the individual to have at least a basic understanding of nutrition
Mm-hmm.
to really make those choices.
Right.
So it's like a double-edged sword, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're telling me this cookbook gives me freedom A&D results.
Mm-hmm.
Color me intrigued.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the cookbook itself like?
Okay, so the cookbook itself is actually really user-friendly.
Okay.
The recipes are divided into like really clear categories,
Yeah, I noticed
which
that.
makes finding what you're looking for like super easy.
Yeah.
And he keeps things really simple with like the serving sizes.
Mm-hmm.
Like he says, one serving of fruit or veggies
Yeah.
is equal to 100 calories.
Right. That's a good like guideline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he also kind of throws in like a little disclaimer about nutrition labels, reminding us that they're not always 100% accurate,
Yeah. Sure.
which again kind of circles back to like focusing on the bigger picture of total calorie intake
Right.
rather than stressing over tiny discrepancies.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I love how he includes links to buy special ingredients. That's a lifesaver.
That is super helpful.
When a recipe calls for something specific, like a certain protein powder.
For sure.
Yeah.
He really tries to make the whole process as smooth as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of helpful tools,
Yes.
he includes like a master recipe nutrition table at the back of the book.
Okay.
And this is where you can really personalize things.
Okay, cool.
Adjust recipes, track your calories.
Okay, we've talked a lot about like the how.
Right.
Now let's get to the what.
Yeah, the fun stuff.
Like what are some of the standout recipes that make this cookbook like so unique and special?
Okay, well, you can't talk about Coach Greg without mentioning his beloved French toast.
Right.
I mean, he calls himself a connoisseur for a reason.
Of course.
The anabolic French toast is a classic.
All right.
And then there's just tons of variations.
I was drooling over the mega peach French toast bake.
Oh my gosh,
Can you
yes.
imagine like waking up and having a slice of that ready to go?
I know.
It sounds amazing.
He actually recommends making a huge batch for the week,
Okay.
which I love. Talk about efficient meal prep.
Right.
Now, I know you mentioned having a sweet tooth.
I do.
Did you see the chocolate PB chilled rice cakes?
Oh, those sound amazing.
Right.
And don't even get me started on the protein ice cream.
The ice cream.
Like, I never thought you could make healthy ice cream that actually tastes good.
I know. And he has protein bars, donuts, and
Wow.
the works.
Wow.
It's like he thought of every craving and
Yeah.
found a way to make it fit into this lifestyle.
That's awesome.
But it's not all sweets and snacks.
Right.
There's plenty of hearty meal options, too.
Okay, like what? Give me some like dinner inspiration.
Okay, well, for like a lighter option,
Okay.
there's the prosciutto-wrapped chicken and veggies.
Ooh, that sounds fancy.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, sometimes you just want comfort food.
Yes.
Did you see the anabolic meat lasagna?
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's right up my alley.
Me too.
And even in the instructions, like, his personality shines through. For the lasagna, he reminds you to eat slower than last time.
Haha.
It's like he's right there in the kitchen with you,
Yeah.
cracking jokes and keeping things light.
I love that.
Yeah.
It makes the whole experience more enjoyable.
Exactly.
But what about people with different dietary needs?
Right.
Does he only cater to like meat lovers?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He's got options for everyone.
Good.
There's the apple goop,
Okay.
which is vegan and packed with fiber.
Awesome.
And for like a vegan treat,
Mm-hmm.
there's a vegan chocolate mug cake.
Wow. So there really is something for everyone.
Yeah, he's covered all the bases.
Awesome.
And beyond just the recipes themselves,
Mm.
he offers some great advice on how to make the most of the cookbook.
Like what kind of tips does he give?
Okay, well, one thing he stresses
Mm-hmm.
is the importance of using a food scale.
Okay.
Accuracy in measuring ingredients is key,
Right.
especially if you're trying to hit specific calorie targets.
That makes sense. What else?
He also reminds you to calculate your total calories,
Okay.
particularly when you're making substitutions.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in swapping ingredients
Mm-hmm.
without considering the overall impact on your calorie count.
Right.
Remember, it's about the big picture,
Mm-hmm.
not just blindly following a recipe word for word.
So he's really giving you the tools and like the knowledge to like take control
Yeah,
of your nutrition.
absolutely.
That's pretty empowering.
It is. And, you know, for those who want even more guidance,
Mm-hmm.
he does mention the option of like hiring him as a coach.
Oh, wow.
But even without that, like the cookbook itself
Yeah.
seems like a fantastic resource.
Okay, so let's say I'm ready to jump into this whole anabolic cooking adventure.
Yeah.
What's the biggest takeaway
Hmm.
that you think I should keep in mind?
You know, I think the most important thing is to remember that this approach is all about finding what works for you.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment, personalize recipes, and really make it your own.
I love that. And it's so cool that he encourages people to share their creations and their progress.
Yes.
Like seeing others' success with this cookbook could be incredibly motivating.
Absolutely. And I think it also speaks to like a larger point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Doucette's really building a community around this lifestyle.
Yeah,
It's not just about following a set of rules.
right.
It's about connecting with others who share similar goals.
That's so important, especially when you're like making lifestyle changes.
Exactly.
Having that support system
Totally.
can make all the difference.
It really can. And it kind of makes you wonder, you know,
Mhm.
could this anabolic approach have implications beyond just physical health?
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
I like that.
Could it also lead to a more mindful and empowered relationship with food in general?
That's a really cool thought. It's
Yeah.
not just about like what you're eating,
Right.
but how you're thinking about food
Exactly.
and its role in your life.
Yeah, and that shift in mindset could be incredibly powerful.
Tot-
So yeah, get cooking, have fun, and see what delicious transformations await you.
Awesome.
You know, who knows? You might discover more than just a new way to eat. You might discover a whole new way to approach your well-being.
I love that. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.